Okay, we're in Manchester today, and as you may see behind us, A Place in the Sun Live, very famous TV show, but today we're going to be at the event, hopefully getting some information, and at the same time, this is actually the beginning of Costa Blanca Stories.
Yeah, so this is Sam and Luis, and together we have lived combined more than 20 years in Spain. We have rented, we have bought properties, we have had companies, we have worked, we know a lot about Spain, and this channel, this project is specifically to share all our experience on what is to buy a property in Spain, or if you want to move, or if you want to open a business. And I think the best way to start is to come here to Manchester to show you guys. So what are your expectations, Sam?
Well, we can't actually film inside, that's the only thing. We're not allowed to film or record or take photographs, so we're going to give our expectations beforehand and then talk about it afterwards. There are more than 80 stands, I think, or 80 exhibitors, so
yes.
From all things legal, real estate, money, currency exchange, all of these things.
Yes.
So expectations are quite high, I think.
Yes, they are talking about living in Spain, Italy, Portugal,
yes, but
Turkey.
With the main focus in Spain and the Costa Blanca especially.
For sure, yes. I think it's definitely most popular destinations, and specifically the south of the Costa Blanca right now, I think
it's on fire.
It's on fire because prices
Where
are...
we live.
Yes, correct. Prices are very affordable.
Correct.
And I think it's a big opportunity. We're gonna go inside. After we finish, we're gonna give you guys our feedback. We'll let you know all the experience we've got. I'm very excited. What about you?
Same. Let's go. Let's
go then. So Sam, opinions. Can we explain people what we saw there?
Well, I think overwhelmingly, and as expected, it was mainly Spanish, but you also had French, Miami, Turkey, surprisingly a lot of Cyprus as well.
Yes, we didn't expect that.
No, not at all. Yes, overwhelmingly Spanish, and especially the Costa del Sol and the Costa Blanca. And again, based on the areas, I would say more Costa Blanca, even though it's less populated than the Costa del Sol.
Yes. I thought it was going to be mostly Malaga, really, but there was a lot of Costa Blanca things.
And also Murcia and Almeria, because it's also cheaper there as well when it comes to affordability.
When it comes to not only affordable prices, but also lots of potential for investment, because the price is expected to increase. So it's going to be a very, very interesting area to invest. But well, there was a lot of things there. We saw
real estate,
legal things,
currency exchange,
moving,
removals,
pet, pet transportation as well.
Everything.
A lot of things that it was definitely a good idea. I mean, for people wanted to grab some information.
It's a great event to go to.
Yeah, this is definitely a very interesting first step. What I love the most is that everything on time, and I don't know, I think it was more than enough being there from 10 to 4, right?
Yes. Well, we left an hour early because we'd seen everything in the last event, or the last conference was ended by 3. So yeah, we spent the first half hour going through the different stands and speaking to different people.
So we also attended to 4 seminars. All right, let's talk about a little bit about that.
So yeah, the first one in the morning was half an hour after the doors opened. That was with Jasmine, and that was more or less her story, wasn't it? She's the main presenter of Place in the Sun. She said, 22 years on that program, but it was in fact just a couple of years ago that she actually made the move herself. And she renovated her entire house from top to bottom. She's in Estepona, the Costa del Sol in Malaga, and her story was very interesting, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think she was very humble, you know? She had a funeral yesterday. It was shocking how responsible she is now. She's here, you know what I mean?
Yes, and she also used that as a kind of way to say, listen, life is too short, and go for these moments.
And I get the point, because you and I, we both come from different countries. We have moved, we have done a lot of things. We used to live in Madrid.
Correct.
I was in Valencia before, you know what I mean? So we also being very
daring. We took risks along the way.
And something I really love about that part was that she really was human, in the sense of you would expect this TV person to have this mansion, this €1 million mansion, and she was explaining actually that she wanted basically...
Well, what do they call it? A doer-upper.
Yes, she picked that area. Of course, she was explaining that was a practical decision because of her job,
and the schools of her children.
Correct. The main thing was the school. Based on that, and it's important because if you plan to move to Spain and you have a family, of course, the school is probably the most important thing.
Yeah, for sure.
She was telling that based on the school, her partner and her, they decided to compromise on some aspect. It was interesting because they probably could have, I don't know if they did, but they could have had a show by themselves, themselves,
Well, they did, with the renovation project they did, that was their own separate show, like a spin-off.
Yes, but it was very nice and personal.
Well, for example, the next one, which was in relation to the formula for buying a property, they had people, well, as it says here, if you remember, we have the little brochure here.
Yes.
And it had lawyers, currency exchange, property, real estate agents also, so it was like all of them together.
Yes, correct. Yes, it was interesting. The legal process, they were talking about also working with agents.
Which matters, of course, post-Brexit for the Brits. There's a lot more red tape now. It's not as easy just to get on a plane and go to Spain. It's much more difficult now.
They were saying something that, in our opinion, I think it was very positive. The show in general, it was very positive. We also have ourselves different experience.
Well, the thing is, we did it by ourselves, whereas they were promoting a kind of a system in which you kind of talk to everyone, where, like you said,
But we live there. We live there.
And we also
yes.
speak the language.
Yes.
So that we speak Spanish. But the difference is, in the case of most people that were in the conference center today going to Spain, they won't speak Spanish, of course, because
Yes.
they're British and they don't live in Spain. So they were very much from start to finish of the process, like getting your NIE, getting a bank account. And this was a part of the Insider's Guide. This is moving on to the afternoon session,
Yes.
which were more finance and tax driven, which I
Yes.
found more interesting, just for me, because it was very interesting. And
Yes, yes.
And a lot of things that we've experienced over the years came up. So for example, the first thing they said in the afternoon session, get your finances in order, right?
Yes,
Don't
yes.
just go making offers for houses and then don't have anything done back home. Like, because the thing is, in Spain, you have to usually make a deposit for the house. In the UK, that doesn't happen, really. Usually, anywhere between 5 or 10% of the deposit goes down on the house. And if nothing is solved in the UK and you still have a house, you want to sell it, then it could be a drama.
I think it was very honest from them to say, like, look, before doing anything, fix your personal situation.
Yes.
Because normally you would think that any real estate agent or any service.
Well, some of them will, again, it depends on the agency, because some will ask you exactly what your situation is. Others will just take it as if you know your situation, because again, so it just depends on the approach, you know?
Yes.
And again, speaking of real estate agents, 4 of them alongside Jasmine in the first session in the afternoon. And one of them was from Villa Martin, which is
Pretty much where we are, no?
yeah, pretty much Orihuela Costa. One was from Costa del Sol, also the other 2, no? Based in Malaga.
Well,
parts of
Jasmine
Malaga.
was from the south.
I'm talking about the other. So Jasmine was in the middle, and then you had the 4 people, the 2 on the left, 2 on the right. 2 on the left from Costa del Sol.
Well, one of them she was more up, no? More in the Spanish.
Inland kind
Inland
of thing.
and in the Spanish thing. And it was, I think,
Yes, that's true.
that was one of the most interesting moments. It was one of the funniest in the sense of
Because somebody asked, okay, if I had a 200 grand budget right now,
Correct.
where would I invest?
they were basically explaining why it was nice to live where they lived. They mentioned Playa Flamenca, which is where we live. It was crazy because it was like a competition, like
Yeah.
a fun kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
And that's when you see all the potential Spain has, you know, like
But
really.
having said that, I mean, they were talking about budgets as well. Again, we understand that these companies go here and they want to advertise their company. They want to advertise. There was a lot of luxury, new builds.
Yes.
So I think if you went there today, you might think that you can't do anything with your budget. We're an example of, we've only bought from the second-hand market.
Yes.
You know, and it is, especially in comparison to the UK, especially in comparison to Malaga, Alicante is, again, the south of Alicante. That's why we started this channel, because there is genuine affordability
Yes.
and value for money. So that's one thing I think it was missing a little bit, just the second-hand market. They were kind of, that's the impression I got.
Yes, we agree that in the afternoon sessions were the best one. The last one was the best one.
Especially,
because we
very
have
informative.
3 lawyers. They were super nice because I think, of course, they're competitors, but at the same time, they were not really competing. They were
Not at
giving
all.
lots of information.
And they all
So-
agreed, like, as my colleague said, you know, I agree with him. And yes, it was like
Yes.
everything from non-residence tax, digital nomad visas.
Yep.
You know, as they said, they explained the 90-day rule.
Correct.
Of every 180 days, you only have to stay 90 days. And
It would all depend of if you're retiring there, if you want to have a
company there, freelancer,
a holiday
business.
house, if that holiday home you want to rent it or not.
Yes.
If you want to move there with your family because maybe you can work online, or the tax thing, because the tax periods are different from Spain to.
And also in relation to the capital gains. In the UK, if you sell your main home, there's no capital gains
yes.
tax. But in Spain, there is.
Yes,
You know?
yes, and taxes in Spain are more complicated. I mean, and we know about that. Yes, that Spanish lawyer who was super good, Alejandro, he was explaining all of this in English, him being Spanish. It was very technical. It was,
Very
I
impressive.
think he's got one of the hardest topics.
Yeah.
This is the confirmation that these kind of shows are a first
step.
Yes, a very good one. You know, in
Yes.
our case, of course, we lived there. We were living in Madrid. We actually went there on a three days or 4 days trip. No,
Well, twice, yeah.
We did it twice. You know,
all by ourselves.
if we had been living in the UK, I think this would have been
Yes,
an
for
amazing
sure. Well,
first.
the thing is that this was in Manchester, where we are right now. I think they also mentioned they do it in Glasgow.
in London, Birmingham, and Dublin.
Nothing in Scotland.
No, nothing
Okay.
in Scotland. Yes,
Okay, but it's still an interesting event to go to, and I think we learned a lot.
yes,
I mean,
yes.
things were reaffirmed that we knew already, but it's always good to have people who have been doing it for decades and reaffirming that for you.
So, well, any final comments on the show? Finance, lawyers.
Currency exchange, probably, if you want to be sending, well, how are you going to send your money across to Spain? It could be, well, nowadays you can use Wise or Revolut, but they're still pushing the currencies exchange and all of these more traditional.
When you send money abroad, especially, I mean, let's say you're gonna buy a house for 150 to 150 something pounds, no, £1,000. The exchange rate,
The commissions.
commission, plus also the fact of Spanish banks. So it's better if you work with one of these brokers, because I think they're gonna have everything sorted before you do the transaction, no? lawyers for the tax situation, like fixing your tax situation because you're going to be a resident, non-resident.
Also, knowing where you want to go, researching the area.
Yes.
You know, because they mentioned, in fact, I think when they did a show of hands today, like who knows where they want to go. Not only have your finances in order, have your budget in order.
Yes.
And also remember that if you're going to buy a house in Spain, you're going to have to put between 10 and 13% on top of that for taxes, notary, stamp duty.
And the thing when it comes to picking a place, probably the most popular place is Costa del Sol, Malaga. It's true that there are many places in Spain where you can live. Also, I think that, for example, in the case of the area where we live, it's crazy that it's not that crazy popular, right? Because it has pretty much everything and it's super affordable, right?
It's not as well known as it should be, perhaps. Which is
Yeah.
a good thing for us, to be honest.
Yes, I mean, but it's growing a lot.
They mentioned it several times today, didn't they? Villa Martín, Villa Martin.
La Cenia, Playa Flamenca.
One of the speakers said today, Costa del Sol has been the place for years and years and years.
Not super expensive.
But that's the point, yes. In the last 5 or 10 years especially, the prices have shot up a lot and it's just no longer affordable if people want to go to the places they went to before.
Yeah.
Like they mentioned, like the Mijas Costas, the Fuengirola, all of these different places. You know? For me, Torrevieja, Orihuela Costa region is unique in the sense that, as you said, there's life all year round.
Yeah.
Of course, the peak months, July, August, are very busy, as most of the country is.
Yeah.
But when it comes to being able to go to a restaurant in January, nothing really closes here.
Some feedback. What things did you miss? We've been saying very positive things because overall it was very positive, but what things did you miss? In my case, I would say that second-hand market, because it was all
That's
new
number
buildings, luxury.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a little bit scary because, of course, it's more expensive and people might think that you cannot find a decent property for low prices, which in our case is just not the case, you know?
We've bought several properties in the last 4 years or so in Alicante province, and we've always had a very humble budget. If I was going there as somebody who wanted to buy a house and all I'm hearing are numbers like 400,000, 500,000, luxury, new construction, modern apartments.
They were actually talking about minimum 200,000.
Yes, 100 and 200, you can find yourself a 2-bed apartment or a 3-bed house, that's still within walking distance to the beach within, 20 minutes.
150.
We have it. We
Yeah,
have
like
it.
150.
We have it.
Yes.
But again, the second-hand market, like you said, is still very, very strong and affordable in this part of Alicante. Again, you go to San Juan or you go to other parts that are more trendy or more known, it's going to be more expensive, but not as many as you would imagine.
In that market, you can still find very decent properties because you tend to think that, oh, I have to do the entire bathroom, kitchen. There
Not
are
at all.
very decent houses, right?
Yes, most second-hand properties, you're probably talking about they were constructed in the 90s or early 2000s, so they're not that old.
Yeah.
You can redecorate or do refurbishment or whatever you want.
When it comes to the currency thing, maybe it was a little bit too pushy. I mean, and I get it. The place, they have their own thing and they have to promote it. I get it, but there are
that's why
more
they're there.
options.
I think so nowadays, yeah, with technology, like I said before, Revolut, Wise.
Currency is direct as well. So they're very good.
They are, but I think
And they're pretty much online because we use it for the business and it's pretty much online,
But I think it's also okay to explore other avenues.
Another part that I also was missing was when they were asked about the squatters.
But as the guy said, it's definitely more in the media than it is in reality. We've done real estate courses before, and it's like less than 1% of the
Yes.
properties that have been sold.
Mostly owned by the banks as well. Probably,
Yeah. So, for example, like you said, it's something to look out for. Perhaps, again, installing an alarm for your own peace of mind.
Yeah.
But the reality is that the squatting situation is not as bad as it seems if you're only looking at the news.
The last thing I would say that was they are professionals doing their jobs and they make your life easier,
Yes.
But it's also true that I think it's important to tell people, especially anytime we come here, you see the things work better here, the
yes,
systems,
so
you
yes,
know what I
so
mean?
the
Like,
red tape, the bureaucracy, for example, yes. I mean, having gone through that several times ourselves, I have to say, it kills me every time,
I know. Just to let people know at least, because it might be frustrating, not only how slow or how many bureaucracy you have to go through, but also the way they treat you sometimes. It's just like different thing, you know what I mean?
But again, if you think about it, they're there promoting every single part of the journey. So maybe their clients are not experiencing that firsthand as we did. Well, the thing is, of course, remember that if you're talking to Spanish people and English is their second language, it's always going to be, you think about it the other way around. You have to
Yes.
put yourself in their shoes. It's not their first language. They're not going to be able to give you that native British charm that you're looking for, perhaps.
Yes.
But they're, of course, very nice and very professional
Yes,
anyway.
yes, definitely,
But that would happen
definitely.
in any language.
Overall, it's been a nice
fantastic
trip.
experience.
Yes, fantastic
So glad we came.
experience. Please let us know in the comments what you think of these videos, but especially what would you like to see, because right now we're gonna start recording more videos.
Can apply to moving to Spain all over the place.
Correct, like the technical things maybe.
Yeah,
okay,
like,
but just
we'll have videos on taxes and things like that. It will depend on the community, but
Of
it can
course.
still apply to the country as a whole.
anyways, that's it now. It is the end. Remember to let us know in the comments what content we'd like to see. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the next one.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bye.